man that I've spoken to a couple of times on this topic in the last few weeks, and he always makes me come off the interview feeling more positive about the situation. Senior fellow at the America First Policy Institute, Ken Timmerman, joins me now. Ken, I said to you last time that I keep waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and thinking about you. And there's a lot of men that would like that said about them. Are you going to carry on being optimistic, Ken, about the outlook, about the situation in the Middle East? I'm not joking. Ken, if you are negative about this now and pessimistic, you're going to ruin my day. Go on, Ken.
Bev, the last thing I would like to do is ruin your day, and I'm not going to do that. Let me make a couple of points here. First of all, the ceasefire. The ceasefire is going to last for as long as the Iranians decide to keep it. The president wants to keep the ceasefire going because we are taking advantage of it. We are resupplying our troops. We're bringing up more missiles, bringing up more military assets, more ships, more Marines, getting in place for the ultimate day when we may have to start fighting again. Second of all, we are using the ceasefire to flow destroyers into the Strait of Hormuz, onto the other side to clear the mines. By the way, we would have liked to have some help from NATO. They helped us in 1988 clear mines, but they're not going to do that now. So we're going to clear the mines with underwater drones. So we're very happy to keep the ceasefire. If the Iranians decide that they're going to fire on ports on the other side of the Gulf, then all bets are off and we're going to go back to fighting. Now, second thing I'd like to say in response to your panelist who said that the Iranians have a right to enrich. The Iranians have no right to enrich uranium, period. They forfeited that in 2003 when they were first found in violation of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. The UN Security Council ultimately voted 6 sanctions against them, sanctions resolutions, finding them in violation of the NPT. Let me remind our viewers, the NPT is a bargain. It's a trade-off. You, as a non-nuclear state, a non-nuclear weapon state, you have access to civilian nuclear technology, but only if you renounce any aspiration and any program to acquire nuclear weapons. The Iranians have showed time and time and time again they wanted nuclear weapons. They have nuclear bomb designs. The Israelis found those. They've been making the non-nuclear components of nuclear weapons. They have been turning uranium gas, UF6 gas, into uranium metal to make bomb cores. They have been enriching to 60%, which has no civilian need whatsoever. And they say that they want to continue enriching. They have no right to enrich. And when I say no right to enrich, I mean never. I mean not to 1%, not to a half a percent, zero. They have no right to nuclear technology because they have violated the NPT.
Ken, are you as optimistic about what's happening there as you were a couple of weeks ago?
I am optimistic. Look, I think, President Trump said that the Iranians came to these negotiations thinking they had all the cards. They didn't have any cards at all. They had bluster and they had lies. Kalibov, remember the guy leading the negotiations, former IRGC general, Speaker of the Majlis, a 4-time failed candidate for president. Kalibov said, well, Lebanon was part of the deal. The ceasefire, there was no ceasefire in Lebanon as part of the deal. He just lied. He also said sanctions relief was part of the deal. That was not part of the deal either. He said he wasn't going to come to the table unless those 2 conditions were met. Well, guess what? He came to the table and stayed there for 21 hours. And now, today, President Trump has told us that he's gotten a call back, apparently from Kalibov or from the foreign minister, saying they want to come back to the table. They're going to try to weasel some deal. They're going to say, well, we'll only enrich maybe a little bit, and maybe in 5 years from now, maybe in 10 years from now. It's a non-starter. It's not going to work.
Okay, Ken, good to see you. I think you're still as positive about the outcome as you were a couple of weeks ago, but let's talk in a couple of weeks more.
We win,
okay,
they lose.
Good. You still feel like President Trump knows what he's doing. All right, brilliant. From the First Policy Institute, there, Ken Timmerman, friend of the show. Delighted to say in the studio is another friend of the show now, geopolitical expert Kate Jones is with us. Kate, great to see you again. Right, Kate, where are we at now with Iran and Trump blockading the Strait of Hormuz? We understand the logic. This is a display of non-military power. America will decide the economic direction of travel across the world. Iran will not decide that. Is it a smart move? Is it a risky strategy?
It's a financial trap for Iran to prevent.
Okay. Okay.